स्टूडेंट्स, मेरा नाम है इंदु मिश्रा और मैं करने आई हूँ आपकी मुश्किलें आसान. What are we going to do? We are going to make things easy for you as we are going to give you a one-shot revision of combustion and flame. हाँ जी, आपने सही सुना है. We are going to do a one-shot revision of combustion and flame. So let's start. Combustion and flame. So to start with this chapter, it is very important for us to understand what is combustion. In a very layman term, we call it burning in our day-to-day life. But what is the chemical concept of combustion? Combustion is a chemical process. It's a chemical process in which a substance reacts with oxygen from air. Right? Oxygen is the supporter of combustion and we take oxygen from air to produce heat and light. तो अगर कोई चीज़ ऑक्सीजन के प्रेजेंस में बर्न होना शुरू करती है या कंबस्ट होना शुरू करती है and gives us heat and light, then we call it's a process of combustion. So what do we need for combustion? Combustion के लिए हमें चाहिए क्या? तीन चीजों की जरूरत है. There are three things that are required. The first, a combustible substance, right? Second, presence of oxygen, as oxygen is the supporter of combustion. And third, ignition temperature. Third is ignition temperature. You must be wondering what it is. Let's learn in detail. What are combustible substances? कोई भी चीज अगर वो कंबस्ट हो ही ना या जले ही ना तो फिर क्या फायदा, राइट? देन यू कांट यूज इट एज अ फ्यूल और यू कांट यूज इट इन योर डेली लाइफ वेयर यू नीड हीट एंड लाइट, राइट? सो combustion, what is a combustible substance? A substance that catches fire. A substance that catches fire easily and undergoes combustion, right? आसानी से जले और it has to catch fire whenever you provide it with a little amount of heat, right? So combustible substance is a substance that catches fire easily and undergoes combustion. Now, presence of oxygen. Presence of oxygen is very much required, otherwise combustion will not occur. Now, you may not trust my word for it, and I said you earlier that oxygen is the supporter of combustion, right? So if you don't believe my word for it, let's go through an activity. We have taken candle A. Constant supply of oxygen is here, right? Constant supply of oxygen. And this is very little oxygen is available. Now, in the first case, this candle is burning in presence of oxygen. Nothing is kept over the candle और ये आराम से जल रहा है. The combustion process will continue, right? In the second case, we have put an inverted glass jar over the candle, right? There is an inverted glass jar over the candle. What happens because of this? The candle will only burn till the time there is oxygen present in it, and later the candle will extinguish, indicating that oxygen is a must for combustion. You can always say oxygen supports combustion. So this was the second requirement. The third requirement, ignition temperature. Now the sound of the word is new to you, I know, but ignition temperature means the minimum temperature at which the combustion can start. It is the minimum temperature that is required to start combustion. Now children do not define it properly. They don't use the word minimum temperature and thus they lose marks. So please remember, ignition temperature is the minimum temperature that is required by a substance to start combustion. And this is also known as kindling temperature. तो अगर आप किंडलिंग टेम्परेचर के बारे में सुने और आपको लगे कि आप कुछ नया सुन रहे हैं तो घबराना मत. किंडलिंग टेम्परेचर इज नथिंग बट ignition temperature. Okay? Now there's a very simple experiment to understand how few things have lesser ignition temperature and other things have higher ignition temperature. Okay? If you take a filter paper and make a paper cup out of it, or you take a normal paper and you make a paper cup out of it, right? And you put it over the flame, the cup will start burning, right? But if it is a wet paper or a cup which is holding a little water in it, then the ignition temperature is increased and thus the paper won't burn, right? So it is such an easy experiment, but it means a lot to indicate that yes, ignition temperature is the minimum temperature required for combustion and varies from substance to substance. Now, we have understood what are the requirements for combustion. Let's understand what are the types of combustion. And this is basically based on the ignition temperature that we are providing, right? The first type of combustion is rapid combustion. The second combustion is spontaneous combustion. And the third is explosion. Now imagine, आप अपनी क्लास का सिनेरियो ले लीजिए. आपकी क्लास में हर तरह के बच्चे होते हैं, right? कुछ जो क्वेश्चन पूछने से पहले ही आंसर दे देते हैं, कुछ जो सवाल सुनते हैं फिर सही जवाब देते हैं, और कुछ ऐसे जवाब दे न दे लेकिन जब उन्हें कोई क्वेश्चन का आंसर आता है तो वो बिल्कुल लाउडली अपने क्लास में बहुत अच्छे से इस आंसर को डिस्प्ले करते हैं, राइट? तो आप सोच रहे होंगे टाइप्स ऑफ कंबशन में ये कैसे फिट बैठता है. लेट अस सी. सबसे पहले रैपिड कंबशन. ये आप रोज अपने घर में मम्मी को काइंड ऑफ इस्तेमाल करते देखते हैं जब वो किचन में काम कर रही होती है, राइट? एक जरा सा स्पार्क और मम्मी का एलपीजी गैस आपके कुकिंग के लिए तैयार हो जाता है, राइट? सो अ रैपिड कंबशन इज व्हेन यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग लिटिल अमाउंट ऑफ हीट, राइट? एक बात याद रहे, मम्मी का गैस जब मम्मी चाहती है और मम्मी स्पार्क प्रोवाइड करती है, हीट प्रोवाइड करती है, तभी खाना बनाने के लिए तैयार होता है, राइट? वो अपने मन से नहीं जलने लगता. You must be thinking, what am I saying? Yes, the rapid combustion here only indicates that you need to provide certain amount of heat for the combustion process to start, right? Undergo rapid combustion and has lower ignition temperature. So rapid combustion होता है जब आप external heat provide करें और उसके बाद वो combustion बहुत अच्छी तरीके से start हो जाता है to give you heat and light. Spontaneous combustion. ये वो कैटेगरी के बच्चे हैं जो क्वेश्चन सुनने से पहले ही आंसर देना चाहते हैं. Right, you heard me right. Spontaneous combustion happens with white phosphorus, right? Example, white phosphorus. व्हाइट फॉस्फोरस. व्हाइट फॉस्फोरस क्या होता है जब आप इसे बाहर लेते हैं, यू ब्रिंग इट आउट फ्रॉम kerosene or wherever it is stored, white phosphorus will catch fire as soon as it is brought out in presence of oxygen. इसे कोई एक्सटर्नल हीट की जरूरत नहीं होती है, राइट? ये अपने आप आग पकड़ लेता है और जलने लगता है. Can be very risky and that is why this needs to be handled with care. Spontaneous combustion occurs without us providing any external amount of heat to the substance. Explosion. I guess Diwali season, you all kind of see explosion, combustion happening in your house and in and around. Not exactly in this manner, but at least you have heard the crackers burst. Yes, you got it right. In explosion, there is a rapid increase in the volume and release of energy. So, in this kind of combustion, heat and light are emerged. Light is actually not something that we are very much looking into, but yes, heat and light are emerging out of this combustion process with sound involved in it. आपके दिवाली के क्रैकर्स जब साउंड भी प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, जी हाँ, उसी को हम रैपिड कंबशन नहीं, हम उसे एक्सप्लोजन कहते हैं, क्योंकि उसमें साउंड भी इन्वॉल्व होता है. स्पॉन्टेनियस कंबशन आपको एक्सटर्नल हीट देने की जरूरत नहीं है. रैपिड कंबशन जरा सा एक्सटर्नल हीट दीजिए और वो आराम से कंबशन शुरू हो जाता है. थर्ड, कंबशन तो हो ही रहा है विद अ स्पेशल साउंड इफेक्ट, राइट? सो प्लीज यू शुड नोट दैट साउंड is also produced. Sound is also produced. Now, combustion can also be categorized as complete combustion and incomplete combustion. Complete combustion में fuel पूरी तरह से यूज कर लिया जाता है और बहुत सारे हार्मफुल गैसेस नहीं रिलीज होते, यानी मोस्टली कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड रिलीज होता है, राइट? जो ऑब्वियसली आवर प्लांट्स कैन कन्वर्ट एंड यूज इट फॉर प्रोड्यूसिंग ऑक्सीजन. सो कंप्लीट कंबशन गिव्स अस मोर एनर्जी एंड इज प्रोड्यूसिंग CO2, whereas इनकम्प्लीट कंबशन में ऑक्सीजन फ्यूल को पूरी तरह से नहीं मिलता है और इसीलिए कंबशन पूरी तरह से नहीं हो पाता. The result is you get carbon monoxide and less energy. So let's understand that too. Suppose there are two set of fuels here. Two set of fuels. This is complete combustion. And this is incomplete combustion. Incomplete combustion, you are giving oxygen in good amount. Oxygen is provided in good amount. In this, oxygen is provided in less amount. Oxygen is provided in less amount. So what is the result in incomplete combustion? You get CO2, carbon dioxide, and lot of energy. Lot of energy. Yeah, water may also be produced, but what are we looking at? The energy level. Lot of energy is produced in complete combustion. Whereas in incomplete combustion, carbon monoxide is produced and less energy is also produced. Now you must understand, less energy means wastage of fuel as well, right? Wastage of fuel, pollution, all this is what happens during incomplete combustion. Now, chapter says combustion and flame, right? So what is flame? Flame is what you see on a candle, right? So it is the visible gaseous part of a fire. When there is combustion, there is fire, and the visible gaseous part of that fire is called flame. A very important question comes out of this is the zones of the flame, right? The zones of the flame. If you would see a candle burning very up close, be safe, but if you notice it, you would realize there is a innermost black zone. Black zone. This is the coldest zone, or as you can see, it is least hot, right? this black zone has unburnt carbon particles. Unburnt carbon particles. Okay? And then we go to the middle zone, which is moderately hot. You can see it is moderately hot, and this is yellow zone. Yellow zone, also known as the luminous zone. Yellow zone is also known as the luminous zone. This is responsible for visibility, but it is yellow in color. That does not signify that the carbon particles are completely burnt here. No, in this part also, in this zone also, there are unburnt carbon particles. Unburnt carbon particles. हाँ, मतलब डार्क जोन या ब्लैक जोन से ज़्यादा कार्बन यूटिलाइज हो रहा है, but still there is a lot of carbon particles. If they get oxygen, they will be completely burnt. Okay? Now comes the outermost zone, the blue zone. This has complete combustion happening. You can see here there is complete combustion that is happening in the blue zone, and this is known as the non-luminous zone. The non-luminous zone. Okay? This is known as the non-luminous zone. यानी इस पर विजिबिलिटी का आपको कोई खास फायदा नहीं होने वाला, right? So it is the black zone, the innermost zone, which is the coldest zone. Then comes the yellow zone where partial combustion is happening, and this is also known as the luminous zone. Then comes the complete combustion zone, the blue zone, which is the hottest zone. अगर आपने कभी देखा होगा तो मम्मी ब्लू जब तक जल रहा है हमारा एलपीजी का सिलेंडर से जब फ्लेम आ रहा है ब्लू, she is happy. As soon as it gives color like yellow, she is worried. अरे लगता है गैस में कुछ गंदा फंसा है, या how to clean the gas because it's not giving me proper flame. She is right. She knows that the yellow color is indicating partial combustion, and she would love her gas stove to glow with a blue flame. Okay? This is a very important question, children. If you have this chapter for your exams, zones of flame is likely to come. So, would you believe my word without an activity to tell you that yes, soot or unburnt carbon particle are present in a flame? Let's see an experiment. You take a glass. We should not call it a slab, but a thin strip of glass. Thin glass strip. Place it over the flame. You will see a black zone, which is nothing but the unburnt carbon particle soot. Unburnt carbon particles. If you would have seen your grandmother, she would make natural kajal out of this soot particles that she obtains. Not for just with a candle, she would use rose petals and many other techniques that Indian family do, but they would obtain the pure kajal out of the unburned carbon particles or the soot. Okay, but this activity will definitely tell you how unburned particles are present in the yellow zone and the black zone as well. What is a calorific value? What makes a fuel different from one to another? Right? How is a fuel better? And how is a fuel not so good to use? Let's understand by first defining the word called calorific value of a fuel. Calorific value is defined as the amount of heat energy released during complete combustion of a unit mass. Here the unit mass can be 1 gram or 1 kilogram, okay? So the heat produced upon complete combustion of a unit mass of fuel. बच्चों इसमें आपको definition में अब आप you have come to 8th standard and you will be going to higher grades. So you have to remember definition in science has its significance. आपको कुछ keywords नहीं भूलने हैं जैसे heat energy that is involved, complete combustion मतलब आप ऑक्सीजन में कोई कमी नहीं कर रहे हैं, and then unit mass, you have to mention unit mass, or even better you can write it as 1 gram or 1 kilogram of a fuel. The unit of calorific value is kilojoules per kg. Heat का unit kilojoules और kg fuel पर कितना heat evolve हो रहा है, that is how calorific value of a fuel is defined. Now, I told you how is one fuel better than the other, how is it different from the rest. Let's understand. First, you would like a fuel that is easily available, right? हमें वो regular basis पे मिलना चाहिए और आसानी से transport हो जाए और सबसे बड़ी बात पैसा सही हो. यानी it has to be cheap, it has to be transported easily and it has to be easily available. And if you are really conscious about your health and the environment, you have to be particular about this being a smokeless fuel. कोई pollutant release ना हो, ऐसा fuel होना चाहिए. Right? A good fuel should have high calorific value. It should have moderate ignition temperature. What do you mean by moderate ignition temperature? मतलब मर्जी से ना जले और जब हम चाहें कि वो combustion शुरू हो, it should be able to start with a little amount of heat, right? It should have good availability. आराम से मिलना चाहिए, easy to store. जैसे आपके घर में LPG सिलेंडर आते हैं, सिलेंडर्स में आ जाते हैं और मम्मी उनको किचन में रखवा लेती है, right? And handle. It is easy to handle because she can easily switch on and off the stove. A good fuel should have moderate velocity of combustion. Moderate velocity of combustion can also be said as moderate rate of combustion. थोड़ा आराम से, जैसे आप पेपर बर्न करके ऑमलेट बनाना चाहेंगे, that is very difficult, right? So you should have moderate rate of combustion and it should be used properly as a fuel, right? So क्या ऐसे ideal fuel होते हैं? Nearly होते हैं, जैसे LPG that is liquefied petroleum gas या CNG compressed natural gas. ये nearly ideal fuels हैं because ये बिल्कुल भी residue या pollutant नहीं release करते. That's all for today, children. But yes, remember, if you want to extinguish a fire, that also is very important. Extinguishing a fire can happen with the help of water in case it's not an electrical fire or it is not of a fuel which can, float over water. So water, though is an extinguisher, it has to be used carefully. Use of CO2, yes, you heard me right. Carbon dioxide does not support combustion. So if you can produce CO2, you are most likely to extinguish fire. How do we do that? It is very simple if you use a soda acid extinguisher, and that will be a very easy way of putting fire of nearly any kind. I am sure you must have gone through the whole PPT, the whole lecture today, and you must have found that the chapter is really easy and nothing that you're likely to forget. Thank you, and if this was helpful, then please do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you, children.